Hello everyone and welcome to another Starbase video. When building things, you can only go so far using just beams, plates and bolts. All the rest can be achieved using devices. Starbase has plenty of different devices available for different purposes, and this video will show what they are, how they work, and how they can interact with each other. In Starbase, all devices have their own device fields. These device fields can be accessed using the universal tool, and they allow for the control and management of the devices. A device field controls one specific attribute within the device. This could be, for example, the amount of generated heat within a thruster, or a value that can be manually changed, like the minimum and maximum values of a lever. Starbase devices operate within data networks. If devices exist within the same network of cables or are connected to the same power source, they are in the same data network. This enables the maintenance and control of a large number of devices and their interaction between one another. The cable tool and the universal tool are the tools that are generally used for managing these data networks. Thanks to the network, for example, a button and whatever it controls don't have to be directly connected to each other via a cable. It also allows for YOLOL, the in-game programming language, to easily access all the devices in the network from a single YOLOL chip. In some cases, it might be useful to separate the data network into different subnetworks. This can be done using the network relay device. A simple example of where it's needed is when you want one button to open two doors, but don't want either door's own buttons to affect them both, like in this example here. Speaking of buttons, let's take a look at some of the interactable devices available. In addition to different kinds of buttons, there are levers, lamps, chairs, crates, and so on. You can assign the buttons and levers to control whatever you wish using your universal tool. Then there's the lamps, color and luminosity of which you can freely change from its device fields. Thus, you can easily program them to flash in different colors using a YOLOL chip. Then there's the category of base-mounted devices. They are devices that need to be mounted on a device base. There are device bases of different kinds and sizes available for different purposes, both fixed or rotating ones. Examples of base-mounted devices are the radio transmitter and receiver. They allow for wireless transfer of data. The transmitter sends a message to any receiver within the correct range. For the receiver to pick up the message, it has to be pointed at the direction of the transmitter. The receiver can be rotated to scan around for messages. One example of how these messages can be used is for programming your ship to autopilot by placing transmitters on stations and having your ship use its receiver to follow the message they're transmitting. Another base-mounted device is the rangefinder. The rangefinder functions as a laser pointer which reports the distance to the point it hits, whether it's an object or a player. They can be used, for example, to help with automated aligning and landing of a ship, or for triggering traps or a security alarm. Generators are also a common device, as all of these devices need power to function, and generators are there to provide that. However, since we've already looked at generators in the spaceships video, let's talk about radiators instead. The radiator recycles used coolant from the generator, extending its coolant supply. However, when broken, it starts leaking coolant quite fast. Then, for the times when your own arms aren't enough, there's the robot arms to help you. The robot arms consist of two types of joints, revolute and prismatic, which can be stacked together to form articulated arms of varying complexities. Robot arms are primarily used in factories in, for example, automating the use of tools. There are robot arm mountable versions of most tools available, such as this bolt tool attachment. Hinges are also a commonly used device. They are used in the making of turning, sliding, or opening mechanisms, such as doors or hatches. There are different kinds of hinges for different situations. Next, there's the category of rails and rail devices. Rails are a special kind of beam that can transfer power and data and can support rail movers moving on top of them. Rail movers are the devices on the rails which perform the locomotion on top of the rail. The direction and speed they move in can be changed from their device fields. You can attach another device directly to the mover, or for example have it carry something using cargo beams. There are also devices that can help with more complex rail management. Rail triggers are one of them. Once one is placed on a rail, it'll detect the movement of a mover passing them. When a mover passes, the rail trigger sets a single variable to either a predetermined value or a value read from the triggering mover. One could use the triggers, for example, to program the rail mover to change its direction once it hits a trigger. Sensor strips can also be placed on rails. They sense when a rail mover passes them and then send a message pinpointing the mover's position. They can be used, for example, for precise positioning of objects in a factory's assembly line. Then there's the rail network relay, which separates the rail into different subsections, much in the same manner as the network relay from earlier. It connects to the rail network like any other device, but only transmits data in one direction. These relays enable the creation of modular rail systems. In addition, when, for example, building your own spaceship, you'll probably have the need to display different kinds of information, whether it's the remaining fuel or ammo or something else. For these purposes, there are modular displays available that you can assign to display whatever information you want. There are also bigger programmable screens that you can use to display longer pieces of text if you so wish. The list of devices doesn't end here. There are different types of cargo holding devices, YOLO devices, mounted weapons, mining laser, solar panels, among many others, and even more devices are planned to be added to the game. All of these devices you can use either individually or in combination with each other to create something totally new and unique for your specific purpose. For more information on some of the other devices, YOLO and the Universal tool, check out the other Starbase feature videos. In addition, more detailed information on the devices and their device fields can also be found on Starbase's wiki at wiki.starbasegame.com.